Hi you guys, it's Julia Creations and I'm back with another video. Welcome back YT family. I hope everyone is doing amazing, you guys. I'm gonna be doing a little bit of a different video than I normally do today. Lately I've been having so many new clients, which I'm so excited about. If you guys are new here, welcome to my channel. Hi, I'm Julia Creations. I'm a budget coach that specializes in teaching people how to get their finances on check, pay off debt, all that good stuff, save, get their dream houses, dream car, whatever the case may be, become more financially secure. So guys, lately I've been taking in a lot of new clients and I'm so excited, which means, you know, more people are joining our family. And lately I've been realizing that there's so many different things that you guys have been just like opening my perspective about, from like what you want to see from me versus, you know, I post a lot of videos of my clients just showing their examples, and a lot of you guys have the planner and there's so many like little things that you don't know about this planner. It's small but mighty and it does so much. So I wanted to kind of start talking about different things to incorporate in your planner that you're using for daily or weekly. So I said I was making a series, which I'm going to be posting next week, a series about I'm gonna get more into that when it gets closer to that. I don't want to spill too much, but basically I've been noticing there's so many different tips and tricks that I can give you guys to make your budget journey just easier, and you know, more things you can be doing to improve your finances day to day and just through your weekly, so that way you're not doing setting up your budget for the month and just wrapping it up, like giving you tips and tricks to help you get more discipline when it comes to your budget. So that's what this video is going to be about. So it is the end of the week. This video is currently being recorded on Saturday, September 14th. I'm going to be dropping this video later on today, but yesterday I updated my expense checker and I did my budget. If you guys don't know, I'm self-employed, so my budget, I do a non-fixed budget, and I did a weekly budget this time around. Usually I don't do weekly budgets, but I wanted to do this for my budget babes that may have a similar financial situation. So in this video we're going to be talking about things you can be incorporating into your expense tracker to make sure you're staying on track with your budget. And this video is going to be for all my budget babes, whether you're paid weekly, bi-weekly, non-fixed, whatever the case is. I recommend you watch this. I did do another video about expense tracking, which was a really good video, and it helped you guys with a lot of pointers, just staying disciplined. But we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of how you expense track weekly and hang on to your weekly budget template to get you more comfortable. So let's get straight into it. I'm enough talking. I'm gonna show you guys some tips and tricks you can incorporate into your expense tracker when it comes to your weekly budget or bi-weekly budget. So let's get started. Alright you guys, so this is my September budget. As you can see here, this is my reflection from the last month. This is my calendar. I'm gonna go ahead and zoom in so you guys can see my calendar. Zoom in today. Why can I zoom in today? And there we go. My brain is just not working today. So these are all my bills and expenses for the month of September. So this is everything that I personally have to pay. And then I put my credit card statement dates in here so I know when my credit cards are closing and when my minimum statements or my minimum payments are due. I don't always keep a balance on my credit card. I like to use my credit card and pay it off as I go. But it's just good to know the statement date so I know when to not use certain credit cards. So for example here, you guys, with this credit card number 1, this is the date that my minimums due. So I make sure my credit card's paid off by the 6th, and I won't use it again until the 13th because that's when the statement date will be closing. So just to make sure I don't have any transactions or any interest rates coming because I paid off that credit card. So now credit card number 2, this is when the minimums due. This is when the statement's due, so I know I can use this credit card again after the 19th. You guys want to always pay off your credit card in full by your minimum date and make sure you don't have any balance by your statement date so you don't have to pay any interest. So I just like to have those, and then I have 3 credit cards, so these are the 3 different dates. So we're on this week. I like to call our budgets the week of. So you see the week of September 9th to September 15th. That would technically be this week to this week. So that's the week that we're currently on. So that's where we're going to be expense tracking. So the first week we had was September 1st to September 8th. So that's where this falls through. So September 1st to September 8th. These are all my bills that came through this week. As you can see, this is how we have this adjusted on our weekly budget. Since I am self-employed, I will go ahead and minus my expenses versus my income that came in for the week for me. Like I said, I always save to be a month ahead, you guys, so this naturally just comes out my bank account, and then my variables, I use this on my credit card and pay it off as I go, so that way I can monitor my variable spending. So this is the week of the 1st to the 8th. This is how I set it up on my templates, the 1st to the 8th, and now we're looking at the 9th to the 15th because this week has already went by. Okay, you guys, so that's how we get that week of template here and how that's correlated to our actual budget. So now we have our monthly budget. So this is what we plan to spend for the whole entire month. Here's all my bills and expenses for the month, and then this is broken it down into a week. So how we're gonna spend this each week. So now we're gonna go ahead and go to our expense tracker. So this is our bills that we paid off for the week of. This is the first week of bills that would have came out, so that falls on my bill payment sheet. So the next week we don't have any bills coming out. As you can see, according to this weekly budget, there's no fixed expenses, so we're not going to be worried about bills for this week. So if we're talking about the weeks of, let's go ahead and zoom in here. If we're talking about the weeks of in our expense tracker will be broken down into weeks. So for example here, our first week of is September 1st to September 8th. So if I wanted to break this down in my expense tracker to know how much I spent for each week, I'm going to go ahead and set it up to my weeks of. So this will be week 1 of the month. Does that make sense to you guys? So this week is everything we spent in this week of budget. You see how everything falls in there, so you can go ahead and section this off if that's easier for you. So I'm going to go ahead and grab some highlighters, and we're going to section this off so that way you can see actually how much you spent per week. Now if you're paid bi-weekly, you would just do basically your 2 weeks out, so you would go for the next 2 weeks. So I'm going to go ahead and section this off. I want to save my glitter highlighters for my actual adding up at the end of the month, so that's why I'm using a different color than my glitter highlighters. So this is the first week that we have of the month, which would technically be this week of, and it will also be this week of in the calendar. So you guys might be thinking, Jalea, why is this important? Because you're going to be able to go through and see if you're sticking to your weekly budget. So from this little highlighted section, I'm going to go ahead and add up all my expenses. So for this week of, I'm just going to show for the first, we were supposed to spend $18.81, including our bills and our variable expenses. So let's go ahead and see how much we actually spent for this week. So let's go ahead and add everything up. So we got rent $14.40, groceries $93, spending $102, gym $32, eating out for $13, electric for $165, oil change for $63, eating out for $15. So we know this week of we spent $19.23. So how much did we actually spend versus the budget we set? And this helps us know if we're staying on track with our budget. So for eating out, we were supposed to spend $27 this week. How much did we actually spend for eating out? So for eating out, according to this budget, we spent $15 plus $13. So our full expense total was over to $19.23. We did have a unplanned expense of an oil change, which made us $63 over our budget. So our budget was to spend $18.81, and we wind up spending technically $19.23 because we had that oil change. So that way I can be like, okay, I had an unplanned expense that came up that messed up my budget, so I know that I'm still aware. Now, let's say I needed to go through and see where I overspent. So I did go over my spending budget, but I didn't wind up getting gas. So I didn't get gas this week, so technically we evened out. Groceries, our budget was 27. We wind up spending, I think, 28 here. So we just went over $1 for our eating out budget. So as long as it's staying on track with our monthly budget, we're good to go. So it wouldn't be impulsive. So now when we get to our second week, we're going to look at the week of September 29th to September 15th. We're going to go ahead and section that off. So I do plan on going bowling tonight, so I'm just gonna go ahead and section this off, but I probably will still spend some more because I'm going out tonight. So this will be the 9th to the 15th, the week of the 9th to the 15th. So I will be going out this weekend, so I'm not going to for sure section this off. I have to update my expense tracker when I get back, but I'm just gonna go ahead and say week 2, and I'm gonna leave some space for my transactions tonight because I know I'm going out, so I'm gonna spend money. So it's gonna be week 2 of the month. All right, so let's go ahead and section this off. I'm gonna go ahead and use, I low-key want to use like a green. They're gonna be like, Julia, you're so extra, but I really am, y'all. I don't play by my highlighters. I want to save my glitter highlighters. I'm gonna use this for when I actually add up my expense tracker for the month, so that's why I'm not trying to use it, because I don't want to have so many colors going on. Let me use my green and blue. I'm in the mood for some green. So I'm just gonna section this off. If I do have multiple transactions, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna need to probably I'm just gonna give myself 2 lines, but if not, I can just always extend it. So this would be week 2, because our next week that we'll be working on will be the week of September 16th. So that Monday to the 22nd will start to fall with those other transactions. So far for this week of, I'm gonna go ahead and add up and see how much I spent for the week. So this is the week right here where we have nails for 80, eating out for 27, and spending for 87. So our goal is to spend $194 this week. So let's see how much we actually spent so far for the week. So we spent $8 for grocery, $3 for spending, gas for $28, eating out for $13, spending for $12, spending for $3, nails for $85, and then eating out for $16. So out of this $194, we've already spent $68. So keep in mind, you guys, we didn't get gas this last week, so technically we used gas this week, so we can technically scratch that off and put it on here, and we still have money left from our other budget. So a goal is to spend $194 this week, but if we need to pull gas, as long as it's sticking to our monthly budget and we're not going over our monthly budget, we're good to go. So technically for my spending budget, I have a spending budget of $87, and I've only spent $6 plus 12. So 6 plus 12, $18 on my spending. So I still have a spending budget of $87 to keep me in my actual monthly budget. So I hope that makes sense, guys. You can adjust as you need to make sure your budget is making sense. I did go over my nail budget by $5, but that falls in my self-care budget for the month, so I'm good to go. So the goal is to be looking at your budget and making sure these numbers still match what you're actually supposed to spend for the month. So my eating out for this week, I spent $13 and I spent $16. So 13 plus 16, I've spent $29 for eating out. And then the last week for eating out, I spent, let's see here, $15 plus 13. I've spent $57 for the month for eating out so far. My eating out budget is $110, so I know I can't go over this $110. So you can adjust your budget as needed. If you set up a weekly budget and something gets moved around, you can always adjust it to make sure your numbers still match. So now if I were to go over this $110 because I ate out more than the other week, now it will be impulsive. So if I eat out another time this week, right, and it's not a part of my spending budget, I need to reduce my eating out from this week to make sure I'm still matching my budget. So this is why your expense tracker and your weekly or monthly budget goes hand in hand. Usually I don't do a weekly budget. I just go ahead and do a monthly budget and just add up everything and section it off to make sure I'm sticking to my budget so I don't go over it. That's a way to organize your expense tracker. Another way to keep me disciplined when it comes to my expense tracker is to have 2 separate bank accounts. One that has all my fixed in it. You see, I don't have fixed bills until the next following week. So this is the only bills that would have came out in my bill account. So my variables, I personally like to use all my variables on my credit card except for the things I have to use cash for. So I'll have a checkings account that holds the money for my variables, and as I swipe my credit card, I pay it off. So this is a way to stay organized when it comes to checking your monthly budget versus your weekly versus your expense tracker. So this is how we section off our expense tracker to make sure we're doing good. I'm going to go ahead and fill this in once I get done going out for the evening to see if I stick to my budget for my spending and make sure I'm doing good there. So I'll update that tomorrow when I come back from going out. So that's as simple as it is, you guys. These are just some little tricks that you can incorporate into your day-to-day weekly check-ins to make sure you're doing good, so that way at the end of the month you're not surprised. And I did have an unplanned expense in here, so that messed me up as well, but that's okay. It's put on here, so now I know at the end of the month why my budget may have been thrown off, because I needed to get something done. So that's as easy as it is, you guys. I hope this video was helpful. Let me know how your week went, and do you feel like you're going to use these tips for when it comes to your budget? Keep in mind you should be focusing on what your budget goal is for the month. Mine's is to save, so as long as I'm staying in that budget and not spending more than I'm making, I'm good to go. And just making sure that everything is going good and I'm saving each week after taking care of my expenses. So I hope this was helpful, you guys. Make sure you like this video and let me know in the comments how your week went. Bye, you guys.